Alright, this is, I want to allow you folks, this is Durag Wisdom, wearing a keffiyeh, whatever, and I want to allow you folks just a couple of moments to laugh your asses off. Hope nobody had a heart attack. If you need more time to laugh, Anyway, you're probably wondering why the heck am I wearing this thing. You'll notice, because this particular message is a tribal message. So if I'm going to do it, I mean, this Durag Wisdom broadcast station is not dedicated to tribal affairs, but at times, tribal affairs enter into things. I hate to say, especially now that my tribal lands, Jewish lands, are in the news again because Donald Bertha Bastard Trump is an asshole, and he's the world's asshole. He's the United States asshole, but Benjamin Netanyahu is an asshole, but he's my asshole. He's, part of my tribal assholes. All right. Ugh. That's better. But see, at least you don't have to see my entire face. You'll notice that this particular keffiyeh has Stars of David all over it. When I was at the Occupy Wall Street, this is what I was wearing around my neck. Because I see a lot of people when they go to the Occupy or whatever, liberal, nice, progressive thing where they protest. Notice a lot of people are there wearing the Islamic style one or the Muslim style one. It's okay. I mean, some people are. Well, I would say some people of the liberal bent are Arabists. Nothing wrong with that. That's, the Arab side of the issue. And some people like me are Zionist. Well, I support Zionism. I mean, if I was an actual Zionist, I'd be actually living in Israel. All right, now there are so many issues going on here, and I wasn't planning on bothering you folks, but I was in a Columbo kind of mood, and I had to bother some people because I get questions, about atheism and my tribal this, and why don't I support land for those poor Palestinians? I'm a Jewish occupying Nazi, or I support Jewish occupying Nazism, or whatever else there is. But I have a lot to explain about this matter, and I don't want to turn these broadcasts into tribal stuff. But I have to be honest. I'm speaking right from the heart here. I have no notes in front of me. I'd let you know if I had notes. And I have to speak from the heart. If people don't like what I think or how I believe in certain areas, they're welcome to not subscribe to me. I feel bad, but I don't want anybody to feel, this guy. Now here's the thing. Jewish history has been very, very. It's been filled with violence and conflict. Especially during those times when my tribe was set into the wilderness of the diaspora. Now, at the time of the dispersion, the Romans renamed Israel Palestine. So from that day forward, Jews were known as Palestinians. Whether you accept that or not, Jews were known as Palestinians. Now, these particular Jews, who were known as Palestinians because the Roman renamed the land, they didn't look like me. See, because I'm from the European, when we were dispersed into the Europes. So mixed with the white folks. So now, that's how you get this. That's why, I don't really consider myself an official white person, because you go back to the Middle East, of the original Jewish people, they were darker, they were people of color. So, they were in the land. People say, well, the Romans got dispersed all of my tribe, but they did not. And there's all kinds of other historical ideas and things, okay? But any place Jews have lived throughout the dispersal, they've always run into problems. And really bad ones. And going on, they got to a point where, Europe, the 1940s, late 1930s, 1940s, the murder of millions of people, 12 million human beings, including 6 million Jewish people, for the purpose of murdering all the Jews in the world. And among these 6 million Jewish victims, the Nazis took newborn infants from their Jewish mothers and murdered them in front of them for medical experiments, if you could imagine that. And the world stood by while this was happening, and as far as I'm concerned, my tribe owes absolutely nothing to the rest of the world. You're going to let, given the chance, the world would let more Jewish babies be murdered in front of their mothers and experimented on. Okay. Hebron, which is on the West Bank, is part of the historic land of Israel, according to the men who wrote down how the ancient world was going to be divided. Hebron is where the patriarchs of the Jewish religion are buried. And that land is just as holy to the Jewish people as the land of Jerusalem over there at the Temple Mount. There. So, but religious connection, cultural and religious connection. So anybody saying that this West Bank belongs to the Arabs, I think they're full of shit, and all they want to do is just take everything away from the Jewish people. Now, when Israel was declared a state in 48, the Arabs, and I don't mean the Arabs to denigrate them, whatever else, but they attacked. And at that time, there was no occupied territories. Israel was nothing of what it was. It's a little still. Jerusalem was under the control of the Jordanians. Okay? You had the Egyptians, the Golan, everything was, they had nothing. The new Israel, and the Arabs attacked anyways. And they kept attacking throughout the 50s. Starting. And it wasn't until 1967 that the Jewish people got their tribal lands back, the eastern part of Jerusalem, which belongs to my tribe. Whether people like that, me saying that or not, it does. Now, during that time when the Jewish people did not have their tribal lands in the East Jerusalem, when they tried to worship at one of their most holy places, they were shot at by the Jordanians. It was discovered, and I've seen pictures of Jewish burial grounds being made into toilets. They used to use the place where people were buried, Jewish people were buried, and the Jordanians and other wonderful, great people would go in there and take a crap in there on these places where people were buried. Jews had absolutely no access to their holy places, and there was no Palestinian state over there because the Jordanians never even decided to put one there. Well, you'll say, well, it was disputed. Now, I didn't hear anything about a so-called Palestinian people until after the '67 war. Throughout the 50s, while I was growing up, never heard anything about a Palestinian people. These Arabs were going to war because they simply hate the Jews because of the religion. Because that's the bottom line with this war in the Middle East, which none of these creep politicians, including Mr. Kerry, understand. There's religious hatred going on that you can't get rid of unless you get rid of the Bibles. Okay. I want to make it very clear too here that the violence and the bloodshed and everything else that's going on in this situation has basically been caused by the Arab terrorists against the Jews. whatever you want to say or whatever you want to do, given the opportunity, as I've seen in the PLO propaganda film, I had an opportunity to see that. They claim in this movie put out by the PLO that the entire land of Israel belongs to them, and they try to show in there that there was a country there called Palestine that they were living in, and the Jews came in and took it. I saw a gripping documentary on HBO called The Death in Jerusalem, and they interviewed some of these terrorists, murderers who who failed to blow themselves up. And one woman had her daughter was blown up, like she was like 15 years old or something, was blown up by one of these creeps. And when she went in to talk, this is what this person said: "You Jews have to get out of Palestine and go back to New York and Europe where you belong." And that means the entire place. Okay? Now, I don't like Obama's policy toward Israel, but I don't like any president's policy toward Israel because they recognize a so-called alien culture within my tribal lands. So, it's not, Obama has been a great president for Israel in terms of giving aid and weaponry and all that stuff. But as long as he and other presidents before him think that there's such a thing as a Palestinian homeland within the Jewish tribal lands, well, I can't accept it, and I will continue this discussion if you're still around and want to hear it. But this is a thing about America, America first, and that's what's in danger now.